Good morning, good afternoon, maybe good evening for a few of you. Welcome to this Pisces full moon meditation. As you probably know by now, I'm sitting in for Tuya, who is traveling. So, first part of our time together this morning, morning for me, will be like the pre-full moon meditation. It won't be just as Tuya unfolds it. Up to the point where we consider the esoteric mantra of Pisces, I leave the Father's home and turning back I say. At this point, we'll have a silent meditation until 5 minutes after the exact minute of the full moon. And at the moment of the full moon, I'll sound a quiet Om, just to mark the moment. And then at 5 minutes after, we'll begin again and visualize the energetic downflow from Pisces, which is usually at the end of the pre-full moon, and then finish finally with a great invocation. So let's start by taking a very brief look at the full moon, which is at 5 degrees Virgo. There's only a couple of things I want to point out before we move into the consideration of Pisces. As you can see, the full moon chart is visually simpler this month, but it does have two very powerful conjunctions. I want to adjust my screen just a little bit. The window, hang on a sec. There. So the first, this opposition from the moon, is a Sun, Saturn, Mercury stellium in Pisces, opposite the moon in Virgo. This conjunction can create incredible mental focus, which, because it's occurring in Pisces, promotes self-awareness. That's self with a capital S, soul awareness, and thus a sense of group connection, group unity, group responsibility, because Saturn's involved. And therefore, in tuning into this, we can play a part in healing or rectifying group karma, whether it's this little group or all of humanity. This is a configuration that allows us to work with group karma. And group karma is the only thing that stands in the way between better implementing our group purpose. Also, since the Virgo Pisces axis is concerned with health, it's water to earth. This stellium can facilitate the healing arts in general. It's a great time to do healing work. The other significant conjunction is between Mars and Venus in Aquarius. Mars is the personality elemental, Venus, the soul influence. So we have in this threefold energy, Mars, Venus, and Aquarius, love and action in service to humanity, at least from the discipleship point of view. This is a tremendous opportunity to align our personality, motivation with soul intent in order to serve effectively. This is the energy par excellence of loving kindness in action for the greater good. Link this up with the mental focus of the Sun, Saturn, Mercury stellium, and we have a powerful opportunity for focused, effective, loving service. Okay, and that's all I will talk about this morning. There's other energies brought in. For instance, the Jupiter square here feeds additional loving energy into the stellium. But let's take a quick look at constellation Pisces, which DK tells us is the first sign that each individual human incarnates into. The human race, the entire kingdom, that is, incarnates initially into Cancer, but mysteriously, and he doesn't explain this, the actual individual incarnations each take place in Pisces. Driven into form by the expansive influence of Jupiter, Pisces orthodox ruler. Thus, Pisces exoteric keywords are go forth into matter. The stage is also indicated in the first part of Pisces esoteric keywords. I leave the Father's home. The Father's home being the realm of the monad. Leaving represents the downward or outward journey into form life, into diversity. The last half of the keywords, and turning back, and turning back I save, can only be spoken by one who has completely freed him or herself from the necessity of incarnation, and then chooses to return for the salvation of humanity. This is a step even beyond the high stage of Aquarius, which fits the disciple for service. DK tells us that only a few take this path, that most of humanity is destined to take the Aquarian path of service. Natives of Pisces have a responsiveness that initially allows them a heightened sensitivity. This is where you find the medium and the mediator, but eventually results in sensitivity to impressions from the soul. Thus, the unconscious medium becomes the intelligent mediator, and then in a few cases becomes the savior. This is that very mystical high calling that DK marks by the term spiritual responsibility. Pisces' polar opposite is Virgo, about which DK says the fluid, sensitive temperament in Pisces, mediumistic and psychically polarized, must be stabilized in Virgo, in which sign mental introspection and critical analysis become possible and serve to arrest the fluidity of Pisces. These two signs balance each other. The reverse could also be said. The overly analytical Virgo can and does benefit from the expansive sensitivity of Pisces. We see both of these influences in the two stelliums that we looked at, the Sun, Mercury, Saturn stellium in Pisces, which interestingly represents that Virgonian analytical ability, and then the Venus-Mars conjunction in Aquarius, which represents, in this case, this Virgo moon influence. Joffre's painting shows the traditional watery aspects of this sign. Basically an exoteric drawing. But notice how the green and red colors of the fishes correspond with DK's teachings that the heart responds to the color green, whereas the solar plexus responds to the color red. So you have this interesting juxtaposition that seems to suggest these two chakras, and this movement is a key one because Pisces is it's one of three signs that is the exemplar of the second ray, eventually the most second ray of all the constellations. So you have key to that, of course, is the movement from energy of the solar plexus to the energy of the heart. So one final quote from DK. The duality of Pisces must be studied in relation to its three keynotes, which are bondage or captivity, shown here with the person in the chrysalis, renunciation or detachment, showing the connection to the universal, and sacrifice or death, the eventual goal. In the first cycle of experience upon the wheel, the soul itself is in captivity to substance. It has come down into the prison house of matter and linked itself to form. Hence the symbol of Pisces, of the two fish linked together by a band. One fish stands for the soul and the other for the personality or form nature. And between them is to be found the thread or sutratma, the silver cord, which keeps them bound to each other throughout the cycle of manifested life. Later on, upon the reversed wheel, the personality is brought into captivity by the soul. But for long eons, the situation is reversed, and the soul is the prisoner of the personality. This dual bondage is brought to an end by what is called the final death, when the complete release of the life aspect from the life of form takes place. At that point, the constellation called the band, which is its own constellation, ceases to have any power on the disciple beginning at the fourth initiation. This influence dissolves and one reconnects with monadic life. Okay, quick look at Heracles' Piscean labor, which epitomizes the work that has to be done under both Neptune's special ruler and Pluto, the austeric and hierarchical rulers of Pluto. This 12th and last great task is called the capture of the red cattle of Geryon, or Geryon. The cattle represent the desire nature, which importantly, by now he's finally learned his lesson, Hercules does not kill, but instead captures from a human monster called Geryon. It's his three-headed figure here. Whose body is that of three men united, thus representing humanity's mental, astral, and etheric physical bodies. A beautiful detail in the myth is the transporting of the cattle in a golden cup to a sacred island. Gold, DK tells us, is the color of the heart chakra, making the golden cup a transforming agent like the Holy Grail, lifting desire, as it demonstrates in the three worlds of human endeavor, represented by the cattle, to aspiration, to compassion and love. And with that thought in mind, you can see the bull carved here, representing the transformed desire of the high initiate. So with that in mind, let us begin our meditation. I will, as I mentioned before, pause the guided part of this meditation. Our timing is such that the full moon at this point is 25 minutes from now at 30 minutes after the hour. So I will pause the guided part of this meditation when we reach that point of the considering the esoteric mantra, and then we will meditate silently. It's hard to say just exactly how long that will be. And then I will sound a soft om at the moment, and we'll continue meditating for another 5 minutes. And then we'll finish up with the descent from Pisces and the great invocation. So, spines erect. Start to use the breath to calm the physical, to regulate the etheric centers, calm the astral. And now let us lift our focus onto the mental plane and enter into the presence of the soul. As you deepen into this contact, feel yourself moving into a field of light, of love, and of spiritual power. Now, let us merge ourselves as individual souls into a deep sense of the group soul. We can facilitate this merging by visualizing a ring of white light, with each of us as points within that ring, and at the center, the Master DK, who is one with the group soul. As we feel our unity strengthen, let us extend this sense of inclusive connection out to the spiritually minded people of the world, including all men and women of goodwill. Now, in a conscious act of further extension, let us visualize our group soul, of which we are now fully merged, into the one soul of humanity. In this act comes the realization that there is no my soul and thy soul. In fact, it is in this living awareness of this unified field of consciousness that we can truly say, naught is but me. Now, holding this high point of tension during the rest of the meditation, visualize a potent point of tension within the mental unit, demonstrating as the color of your soul ray. This point of tension will form the foundation of your antakarana. If you don't know your soul and personality rays, you can always use the second ray color, indigo. Now let us visualize our dual-colored individual antakaranas made up of the colors of our personality and soul rays, connecting the mental unit with the monastic permanent atom. As this connection grows stronger, visualize our individual antakaranas merging into the group antakarana, which glows with all the 7 colors, but primarily the deep indigo blue of the second ray, reaching into the realms of the spiritual triad. Now let us, with one voice, in continued identification with the group soul, affirm the great word of power, I see the greatest light From the point of group tension on the mental plane, imaginatively project a line of vivid, living, white light into triadal realms. Immediately, this group light is met by a light from on high. In the presence of this great light of the spiritual triad, let us as a group reach towards the presence of the Great White Brotherhood. Now, with heartfelt gratitude, let us offer our salutations to the Masters and to the head of the hierarchy, the Christ. Salutations to the Buddha, the Lord of light and wisdom. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all masters. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we work most closely. Salutations to the Master Morya. Salutations to the Master Kut Humi. Salutations to the Master Dual Kul. Salutations to the spiritual hierarchy of our planet. Now, as a group, let us lift our thoughts to Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known, and with deepest reverence and in all humility, attune to the presence of Sunat Kumara, standing at the center of Shambhala. It is in this heightened state that we can come to realize that Shambhala is the planetary center through which the energies of the constellations and the planets enter our world to be distributed to all living beings on Earth. Now let us lift our awareness to the three planetary rulers of the constellation Pisces. Jupiter, which conveys beneficence and selfless generosity. Pluto, conveying the power to purge the personality of all hidden obstruction to soul infusion. Again, Pluto, as hierarchical ruler, conveying the power to negate the personality as an inhibition to the expression of the soul. And finally, Neptune, which conveys transcendent compassion and the power to identify with all aspects of the soul. Now let us lift our focus to the solar logos, which expresses itself through our sun and the solar system. Consider the fact that we are ever immersed in the potency of love wisdom that pours through all the planets of this system, through Shambhala and through every monad, soul, and personality on planet Earth. And now, let us focus our attention on the constellation Pisces, which radiates the light of life itself, ending forever the darkness of matter. Decay describes this constellation, particular quality of light, the light of the world itself. This is the light revealing the light of life itself. It ends forever the darkness of matter. Let us as a group project our imaginative awareness into this Piscean stream of energy. Think about those areas in yourself and your group life that can benefit from this Piscean stream. And finally, before we begin our meditation, let us ponder the esoteric keywords for Pisces. I leave the Father's house, and turning back, I save. As we enter our silent meditation, I will sound an Om at the moment of the full moon, and then again 5 minutes after. Let us now visualize an energetic downflow from the constellation Pisces through the solar logos at the heart of our solar system, through the planets Jupiter, Pluto, and Neptune, into Shambhala, on down through our monads, into the hierarchy, through the great Lord, the Christ, and into and through the ashrams with which you believe yourself to be increasingly associated, and thus through and into the soul of this group. And finally, into your spiritualized personality. Now, while as a group holding this high alignment, let us with love and compassion consider the world situation and imagine the ways in which the energies of Pisces might flow through us for the upliftment and redemption of humanity and the planet. Let us, with hands upraised and intoning the Om 3 times, send a group blessing into humanity so that it may rise to its true spiritual potential and thus fulfill the divine plan. We'll finish with a great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you all. Much love. We'll see you next time.